Okay.
I can believe that. You're
Like just a long weekend.
Yeah, a long weekend.
I've been through the Cape Horses, my friend.
oh my gosh.
You know where the movie areas and stuff are.
I have
Oh yeah.
one too.
That's where you go.
I'll be nice to you. I'll
That's, they seem to have quite the business.
Mary Tom, how you doing?
Wait, say that again.
Wow. But, yeah, they plan on.
Oh, yeah. Last minute, you can't do last minute, but that's they make it happen, so that's why they keep doing what they're doing now.
Insurance kicked in, right?
Yeah, good for them.
So,
Well,
yeah, Mary and David out there, they're really keeping it up.
happy for them.
Ah, it is.
I don't have any grandkids locally that could do that. Steven, I got a question.
Gracie?
How are you?
Things I know. Oh, I thought her district had them all banned for it. Oh, baby. God, what a shame. Yeah, that's why it's
Is he hating on you? Is he giving you trouble?
Look, they make
Thank you.
That sounds about right.
Oh, I do. Maybe they told it up.
Let me tell you something. He ain't gonna turn. He ain't turning down no free business.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, I have one.
Okay.
It's really undeveloped.
Madam Clerk, are we ready?
Well, it doesn't have any.
We ready?
Yeah, which I don't see a problem with.
Good afternoon, everybody. The Shreveport City Council meeting has now been called to order. I'm going to ask Councilman Talaferro to lead us in the invocation and ask Councilman Green to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we come to you with humble hearts, and we're asking for your grace and your mercy as we conduct city business. Let us be mindful of the needs of others, and Lord, please look after our city and our state and our nation. In your name we pray, amen.
Would you turn in place and face the flag and place your hand over your heart?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Taylor.
Present.
Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Talaferro.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Jackson.
Here.
Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilwoman Bowman.
Present.
Tomorrow, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference Monday, March 23rd, 2026, and the city council meeting Tuesday, March 24th, 2026.
So moved.
Does any, that's tomorrow.
That's right.
Does any council member have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Councilman Green.
The one and only Superman is here today. Come on up. And I've been seeing the advertisement, so tell us what you got going on.
Well, one of the things I've got is I'm trying to get Sister Taylor to come in and work out. I can't get time.
Rebellious.
But we're into that time of the year where we do our Optimum Classic Championships and our Fit for Life Health and Wellness event that's coming here to Shreveport in the month of May, all around the month of June 30th, May 30th, and June 13th. We'll be having two events going on. The Optimum Classic Championships brings in athletes from all over the world, Europe, Germany, Sweden, Russia, China. We have athletes and people from all over the world coming into the city. Great economic impact for what we're doing. And the Health and Wellness Expo is open to the architects, where we're trying to bring about health and fitness awareness to our community. I bought a little minute-and-a-half CD that you can take a look at, see what we've done and some of the things that we're doing now to give you a good visualization of it. And if you have any questions after this CD, please let me know. It's only a minute and a half. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. I'll see you one day. Awesome.
Thank you. But this is what we're doing, and these are the things that we do in the city every year to bring about awareness and international awareness. That's pretty much what I'm very, very concerned with, allowing the world to know what we're doing in Shreveport and how we're trying to bring about health awareness to our city and to the state. Any questions at all?
I'd just like to say congratulations and thank you. And
Thank you.
I'm tired of wearing these big clothes. What day am I supposed to perform so that people can see?
We're gonna hold you off this year.
Okay.
You gonna
I'm
work
tired
with
of
it
wearing.
next
I'm tired of having it concealed. So
Yes, sir.
I recognize some people in that video.
I know you did. I know you did. As we worked together on one of those.
Yes, we did.
Yes, ma'am.
That was nice.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Sue. I'm gonna get by there soon.
Sooner or later, huh?
Yeah, I ain't say what day though. I just said soon.
Well, thank you all so much for all your support
Thank
because
you.
I need that to make this happen, and thank you all for being a part of it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.
Are there any council members with distinguished guests? I want to welcome Ms. Lindora Baker to the chamber. How you doing? Is that it? Yes, Councilman Green. Yeah, I was gonna wait till you did all the guests. Yep, okay. Hey, Joshua. How are you? It's good to see you and your mommy in the chamber. Okay. Mayor Arsenault, do you have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
no, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any communications of the mayor relative to city
No, ma'am.
business?
Oh, excuse me. No, ma'am.
I would like to take this opportunity to ask the council that we please have a moment of silence for Assistant Deputy Chief Kirby Dawson. Thank you. Does any council member have any questions or concern relative to property standards for Mr. Green? Good. Anybody? Sashay? Everyone should have received revenue collection plan and implementation report. Public hearing, there is none. Mr. Dork, will there be any legislation to be added today?
No, Madam Chair.
Today, we will hear public comments on non-agenda and agenda items. Madam Vice Chair will handle this part of the agenda. Do we have any requests to speak?
Mr. Craig Lee.
Craig Lee, 1112 Prospect Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104. 16 years ago, in 2010, Shreveport made international news for all the wrong reasons when City Councilman Brian Woolley agreed to a very disrespectful promotion targeting African American residents of the Cooper Road for his mayoral campaign. It was vote for me and receive free chicken and a limo ride to the polls. This made international news, CNN, Tom Joyner, and he was in the midst of a mayoral campaign with Mayor Cedric Glover, and I stood at this podium, made my presentation, and I ended his political career. And because it was very disrespectful, number one, but what made it even more disrespectful, he didn't even offer Southern Classic chicken. And so that day, I offered him Southern Classic chicken and a 40 ounce because he knows that African Americans like malt liquor. 16 years later, Shreveport has made international news yet again for all the wrong reasons when City Councilman Alan Jackson questioned the donation process of Brother Curtis 50 Cents Jackson after he made a $500,000 donation to 9 well-deserving organizations, 501c3s, ironically, again, on the Cooper Road. Now, why is this problematic? It's problematic for several reasons, because we're going to now get into discussing processes, especially with the YMCA, the millions of dollars that they've received from the city of Shreveport, the parish of Caddo, the state of Louisiana, and not one entity questioned the process. As a matter of fact, they've actually used African-American children as a pawn to lure these dollars to Clyde Fant to build this elaborate complex around incentivizing Black children to get into baseball. And we know that that's not what's going on. So I've never heard anybody question the process of James Elrod's donations or any other wealthy white individual who donates their private money to whatever causes they want to donate them to. And this impacted Shreveport in all the wrong ways. I've had calls from throughout the country. Are you all crazy? Are you all stupid in Shreveport? So as I go to my seat, I hope there would be a policy set in place that would stem the tide of any city council person being able to make comments that put us on the world stage for all the wrong reasons, because that's not what this is, especially when someone invests over $200 million into the city of Shreveport. Thank you.
April Bell. Good afternoon.
My name's April Bell. I haven't done this in a while. Address 2714 West 70th, Shreveport, Louisiana. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. My name is April Bell. I am here on behalf of a new business called The Trap in our community. Our goal is to create opportunities that provide quality service and be a positive part of the city's growth. We wanted to create a space much like larger cities that have depicted a place in an era in time that many have not experienced. The reason being the name is called The Trap. We have many illustrations of what that time and space looked like that allow people to come in and photograph and just see a small depiction of that space and era. I also want to sincerely apologize for the recent actions that took place near our facility and any concerns that may have caused. Those actions do not reflect our values or the vision we have for the business. We have measures in place each time we open the doors to assure that we have done what's needed to protect our community and our surrounding neighbors. We are committed to being a responsible and reasonable neighbor and building trust through this process and respect. We are taking accountability. We are also ready to take any suggestions or measures that you think we need to set in place to add added layers of protection. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Thanks. David Hackney.
Good afternoon. My name's Dave Hackney. I live at 9660 Railsback Ridge, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. I'm speaking today in support of the resolution opposing Senate Bill 170. This bill provides for Senate confirmation of Caddo-Bossier Port commissioners. I spoke last week at the Caddo Parish Commission on the same topic. The reason I oppose Senate Bill 170 is that Caddo-Bossier Port Commission is funded by ad valorem tax from Caddo and Bossier taxpayers. We don't need Louisiana senators from all over the state to bless the selection of our port commissioners. However, I do think the nominating bodies, Caddo Parish Commission, Bossier Police Jury, Bossier City Council, and Shreveport City Council, need to up their game on demanding more accountability from the Port Commission. In 2026, the port will receive over $9 million from Caddo and Bossier taxpayers. About 6 of that's from Caddo and 3 from Bossier. In addition to Senate Bill 170, there are a number of other bills being considered by the legislature in regards to the port. Taxpayers are getting fed up with the lack of accountability at the port. A few months ago, at the Shreveport City Council meeting on the data center, both the mayor and the city council members demonstrated impressive leadership and accountability. Madam Chair, at the conclusion of that meeting, you specifically called out Justin Dixon and Mike Bisada for accountability on the data center project. Bravo. The Caddo Bossier Port needs the same type of scrutiny. Shreveport has 4 of the 9 members on the Port Commission. How do you currently hold the commissioners accountable? Let's look at the budget. 2024 capital operation budget at the port was $71 million. The actual spend was $51 million. 12 line items had 0 spent on it. That was $30 million out of the $71 million budget. That is a pretty pitiful budget performance. 2025, $32 million was budgeted, $12 million was actual spend. Let's talk pay raises. This administration and council struggled to balance the 2026 budget and give Shreveport City employees a 3% pay raise that had to be delayed a couple of months. The last 4 years, the port has given themselves 5%, 5%, 6%, and 10% pay raises. The port director is the highest paid port director in the state. I see my time's up. I would just say, if you don't want Baton Rouge running the port, then these entities need to make our commissioners more accountable.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Hackney? I have a copy of your numbers.
Pardon me?
I have a copy of your numbers.
I'll send you my,
Okay, thank you.
or leave it with the clerk. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Philip Maxfield?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm Philip Maxfield. I live at 10021 Canterbury Drive in Shreveport. And members of the council, mayor's office, nice to be able to do this in a long time of coming. My issue is city lights, and there's 2 different things. There's street lights and traffic lights. I travel all over the city on a daily basis, in daytime and night, mainly at nighttime. And it baffles me that we have the traffic lights on Commerce and Milam go to caution in the flashing cycle. And there's traffic up and down that corridor all night long. But when we get to some areas of town with no traffic whatsoever, those lights are on a cycle. Baffles me. Another term my mom always told me is turn the lights off when you leave the room. Well, we have issue with our street lights, as we know, on our highways, on our major thoroughfares. A lot of good segment of the street lights are out. A good mile, half-mile segment street lights are out. We hear about the rat story. I don't care about that. I hear about, it takes a lot of money to try to replace those lights. Who's responsible for the lights? Frankly, the citizens don't care. They want the lights on. Now I go by Independence Stadium. 24/7, daytime and nighttime, every light in that stadium, from the press box to the scoreboard to every concourse lights, anywhere around that thing, they're constantly on, daytime and nighttime. Now I know that for the most part, that stadium gets used mainly in the fall. We get that. I understand that. But during the winter, in the spring, in the summer, those lights are 24/7 on. It baffles me when we have budget cuts and find ways to fund things in this city. Repairs to street lights, repairs to traffic lights, pay raises for our employees. I find it extremely baffling. We find reason, and I don't know what the reason is. Some would say be security purposes. Well, I'm sorry. You don't need 2,000 lights on one stadium on 24/7 for security. Again, my mom always said, turn the lights off when you leave the room. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Butcher.
Before you leave, if you get with Mr. Morgan back there, we have him, and then I think we have confirmation today of a new traffic engineer as well. So speak with them on your way out, and then I'll include you on an email to Ms. Regal back there about Independence Stadium.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
That concludes public comments.
We will have an executive appointment to consider tomorrow. There are no items under consent agenda or introduction or to be adopted. Mr. Dart, please proceed to regular legislation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Resolution 15 is one that's been held over a couple of times, recognizing Mariah Dawn Hester. I believe we're probably waiting for some time when she's able to be here.
Yep.
31 donates one of the retired or retiring police canine dogs, a dog named Diesel, to the person who has been its handler. Resolution 32 authorizes the mayor to execute an amendment to the CEA with CIRA. Essentially, what that does is to give us the authority to donate our interest in adjudicated property or tax liens to them to reflect new state law. 33 executes a letter agreement or authorizes the mayor to do so with SMG, or their current name, Legends Global, to extend their work for another 5 years at Municipal Auditorium and the Convention Center. And the reason it is coming to you is because in aggregate it exceeds $1 million. It's $335,000 a year, but for the full 5 years it would be over $1 million. Resolution 34 orders and calls a special election to renew the DDA tax. It would be at the November 3rd city election date for that. 35 allows us or requires us to reject all bids received for weed abatement and grass cutting season contractors. The reason for this is there was a mistake made during the bid, and a couple of the bids that had been submitted early did not get opened. So we'll come right back around and do that and get those going. They can work off short-term contracts in the meantime. Resolution 36 opposes Senate Bill 170. It's one of the things that Mr. Hackney talked about just a moment ago. I believe it's sponsored by Ms. Bowman and Councilman Butcher.
Anyone has any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Butcher.
On Resolution 36, we discussed this a little bit whenever we had our lobbyist here. I don't necessarily have a problem with the requirements of placing members on a board that have some type of qualifications to be on that board. My biggest issue is the Senate confirmation part of it, just like what Mr. Hackney said. I believe that, like the way the port budgets, it's grown by leaps and bounds over the last 40 years. And I just think that we need local control over who goes on those boards, or any of our boards for that matter. Now, can we put some things in place where we look more closely to make sure that the boards are filling their audits out properly, and are people doing their ethics training like they should? Board members, are they filling out their financial disclosures like they should? Yeah, we probably should have some oversight of stuff like that. But given the authority to appoint people to our boards, or the confirmation authority, I don't like. And I have talked to Senator Presley about that. We had a really good conversation about it, and he understands, I think, where I'm coming from on it. So I think that this resolution just sends a strong message to the Senate that we can at least handle appointing our own members to a board. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Mr. Dark, would you proceed with the introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to April 28th, 2026?
Just as a point of information, I believe Senate Bill 170 has actually passed the Senate and is on its way to the House. So if you're making discussions with legislators, the House is probably the place we'd be looking at. Although I do know the senator is, being asked to get that part out of his bill when it goes to the House. Introduction of resolutions. 37 is the annual adopting the system survey and compliance questionnaire required by the state legislative auditor. Basically, it asks, did we comply with all sorts of laws. Did we do our budget on time? Did we do an audit? Things like that. And we have checked yes in the right places and no in the right places. 38 authorizes the mayor to execute a right-of-way and servitude agreement with a company called Enterprise TE Products Pipeline Company for the construction and operation of a pipeline on city property. This is actually located on Prentice or in the general area of Prentice Street near Calumet. This is a lot apparently we acquired years ago to cancel a paving lien. And that's the only reason that it's going across our property, but we're getting paid, if this passes, $5,000 for the privilege of doing so. 39 is the first of several items on the agenda relative to G-Unit Film and Television. This is one, it's a CEA concerning the Epic Center, otherwise known as the Bonnie Building. That building was originally set up to do job training. In effect, the CEA that's you're being asked to approve here puts the G-Unit Film and Television in the place of the group that was originally going to do that, and they are committed to doing various forms of training and to give some priority to people who live in the adjacent Bayou Grand apartment complex. Resolution 40 is a payment in lieu of taxes with the Northwest Louisiana Finance Authority and a group called Shreveport Millennium Housing 4 LLC. This is for some units of low-income housing in the general. I believe it's about 70. I believe this is the one that's for the expansion of the units next to Bayou Grand.
Any questions? Mr. Dark, would you proceed with introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to April 28, 2026?
Ordinance 33 amends the grant special revenue fund budget. Those budgets are always done estimating how much revenue you're going to have carrying into the future year, and they essentially are appropriating $90,000 to two grants where they had more money than they thought. 34 and 35 are companions. The airport is trying to use a little over $2.2 million of its revenues to make changes in various capital projects. This ordinance actually creates two projects relative to the ramp facilities that they're trying to improve to foster economic development out there. Those are actually funded by state and federal money, but they're putting in almost $2 million of the $2.2 million is for some work on the jet bridge work, some lighting out there that needs to be upgraded, as Mr. Blackwell described it this morning. Some of it basically dates back to when that terminal was constructed some years ago. So they're using their reserves and putting it into the capital budget for that. 36 is an amendment to the lease agreement for Millennium Studios. This one is not to be adopted until May 12th. I believe it'll probably have a public hearing at that time, but I know it requires 3 readings. Essentially, and Marcus is out today if you have further questions, but what I understand about it, this one will include the Epic building that was the subject of the CEA earlier, and it extends the lease term out, I believe, to 99 years. 37 is something that MPC's been working on. It's an amendment to the UDC, basically recognizing additional uses permitted in the downtown area. They had gotten a request from someone who wanted to do some renovation and work down there, and realized that there were a whole series of uses that would probably be considered quite acceptable in the downtown area that were requiring public hearings and other meetings. And essentially this is making it where some of those uses are made uses by right or uses with conditional approval. And Stephen is very comfortable that this is something that will help spur some development in the downtown area. Ordinance 38 amends Chapter 90 of the code. Essentially what it does, right now, if someone's got a semi parked on the street in a residential area, the only way enforcement action can be taken against that is if someone is willing to say that this is a traffic hazard or otherwise public safety problem. If this amendment passes, the vehicle being parked there will be prima facie evidence that it shouldn't be there, and it would be available to be towed and impounded and fees charged as a result. I believe Mr. Jones is here. He helped draft it, I think, at the request of Councilmember Jackson. Ordinance 39 is a zoning case, 2620C. This is at Burt Coons and very near McGoldrick Drive out in West Shreveport. It's RE to C3. They'd asked for C4. MPC said that was too strict, but C3, there's a good bit of that kind of zoning in the general area. It's for contractor's office. There were 2 people there speaking in favor and no opposition. And it passed unanimously.
Mr. Dark, please proceed with ordinances on second reading and final passage.
Okay, the only ordinance we have on second reading this time is an ordinance to amend Chapter 26 that it attempts to track state law that was put in effective with this tax year to allow certain adjudicated property charges to be transferred into tax lien certificates and authorizing those kind of donations of those certificates to land banking and redevelopment authorities and providing certain procedures for how that goes. This one is one of those that we shall see how all this plays out. There are bills in the legislature that would completely undo the tax lien certificate process. Mr. McNeely is not sure that's going to pass. There are others that modify it, but assuming this stays in one form or the other, this would be a way to take advantage of the new state law.
So with the number of individuals, they seek to purchase or make bid for adjudicated properties, what does this adjudicated property to tax lien certificate, what does that mean?
Can you do that one? Because I'm not so sure I know.
I can do that one, I believe. I've done a little bit of study on it. What this does is replace adjudications with a lien that can be foreclosed upon. And what eventually will happen with that is if the lien is foreclosed upon, then you'll be able to put the property to sale and get it back into commerce and likely get it back into commerce with an insurable title. That's the biggest issue we have with tax titles is the insurability of those because they are fraught with errors most of the time, primarily because of notice. That's what this is intended to do, and I'm sure that Mr. Edwards will be able to give you some further information, but that's basically what this does. We think it will enable us to get some property back into commerce that we could not get into commerce quickly. There's still a redemption period, and so it's mostly after 3 years that you're able to do this. And every period after, we frequently have tax sale after tax sale after tax sale. These will all now be tax liens that any of the tax, what we used to call a tax purchaser, can foreclose on to get their money back.
So is this what we wanted to do with Sierra?
What this would enable the city to do would be to transfer those tax liens to Sierra so that Sierra could then acquire those properties. Yes, ma'am. Not necessarily all of them, but it certainly makes that avenue possible.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So it clears up the whole Civic Source having to buy the title insurance from them and the huge cost and all that. So it makes these more marketable, I'd assume, but they still would be able to get a clear title on them though, right?
I believe that to be true, Councilman. I'm not sure that it solves the whole problem, but it certainly makes a step in the right direction.
Because I think that what you and I have talked about, I know Councilwoman Taylor and Councilwoman Bowman and I had in a meeting about this, that I think that the whole goal would be able to make these marketable pieces of property that investors could come in, say in the Allendale community or Queensboro, and buy large tracts of land and be able to get have the title where a bank would be willing to loan them money. So as long as we're moving towards that, I think it's a good thing.
Madam Clerk, is there any other table legislation?
No, ma'am.
I'm going to move, Resolution 15 for Mariah Dunn Hester to the table until she is able to come in person.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We have no property standards or ABO appeals to consider today. We will have a MPC appeal to consider tomorrow. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
No, ma'am.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, and committees? No. Councilman, we have a meeting tomorrow.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. 1:30 tomorrow, Public Safety Committee meeting.
Okay. Madam Clerk, is there a clerk's report?
No, ma'am.
We have a request from the city attorney to go into executive session to discuss the following. Garner Sharika versus City of Shreveport, suit number 662474, First Judicial Court, Caddo Parish. Is that Atrillius Saxton? City of Shreveport, suit number 662600, First Judicial District Court, Caddo Parish. And City of Shreveport versus CDM, suit number 639858, First Judicial District Court.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Bucci to go into executive session. I have a second by Madam Vice Chair. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
could we do that in the back?
sure. We'll move to the back. So let's vote.
And this passes with 7.
Yay.
We're moving to executive session. You can clear the chamber.
I got out of it too fast.